Hi, everyone. Joe Cioffi here on this Sunday night, Mother's Day. We're coming up to, we're 10 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And thank you for being here. I hope everybody had a great day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there. And if you look up in the, that way. Okay. In the upper right corner is me with my new grandson, in case you weren't here yesterday. I figured I'd put it up for another day or two, since not everybody's watching every single day, but I did become a grandfather on Friday. My daughter decided, actually she didn't decide, but my grandson decided that it was time for him to arrive, albeit about 8 days early and during the height of the evening rush hour. So, she almost didn't get to the hospital in time, but thankfully that didn't become an issue. The baby is fine, wonderful, healthy. Mom, dad, and baby are home today, and that's just terrific. And it's great being a grandpa. Okay, so thank you, by the way, those of you who are, with your congratulations. I really appreciate it. And yes, ZUK 416B, buy diapers. Actually, they get to buy the diapers. I bought some stuff for the kid that was useful, like, T-shirts that say fishing with grandpa and that kind of thing. So it's all good. Anyway, we've got a really busy weather pattern ahead, and we've got a lot of different things going on that have suddenly shown up. So some of them we've been talking about, and others have kind of evolved a bit. So first off, let me just summarize really quickly that we have some short-range weather going on this evening in terms of some severe weather. We have a wet weather pattern developing in the eastern part of the United States. And, we've been mentioning the fact of a low-level circulation that was probably going to develop in the Eastern Gulf of Mexico. The Hurricane Center is actually talking about this tonight, so I'm going to address it now that they have a bit more, and we'll see where that goes. But in the meantime, just want to show you on the watches and warnings map from the National Weather Service that we have severe thunderstorm watches up for northeastern Virginia, northern West Virginia, and parts of southeastern Ohio. We also have a separate area of severe thunderstorm watches up in North Texas and western Oklahoma, extending into parts of southwest Kansas. So we do have a bit of severe weather going on at the moment. We'll bring up the current map to show you the risk area. And here we go. So we've got those two severe thunderstorm watches, three areas of slight risk. They're all rather small. The area that's in the mid-Atlantic states, of course, encompassed inside that severe thunderstorm watch. There's another area of slight risk for severe running just south of Chicago across north-central Illinois into north-central Indiana. And then you have that other area of slight risk that is covering the severe thunderstorm watch up that's in North Texas and western Oklahoma and southwest Kansas. If you look down in Florida, you can see that there are bands of some heavy rains coming in from the south and moving northwestward. That is part of the system that is going to be impacting Florida, the Northeastern Gulf, and the Gulf states. And by the way, it's all of that is going to be part of the process that the eastern U.S. will be going through this week, which will be a gradual saturation of the atmosphere with tropical moisture. And it does look like we're going to have a rather wet weather pattern developing over the next week to maybe 10 days, depending on one thing or another. So let's, why don't we take a look at the jet stream pattern going into this week. And I'm going to bring up the upper air jet stream to show you, what exactly is happening with regards to the structure of the jet stream pattern. And you have, if you look out in the Atlantic, where I have where it says moist tropical airflow, if you look just above that, there's a big high in the Atlantic that extends all the way across the Atlantic out to the Azores. And that east-west high is nudging into the southeastern part of the United States. There is a weak trough that is developing in the Gulf states and in the lower Mississippi Valley. And as a result, where you see that red arrow, that creates an alleyway for moisture to come up from the tropics northward into the eastern part of the United States. It isn't quite a Bermuda high, ZEUK. It is and it isn't. It is. Usually when we talk about Bermuda highs deep into the summertime, they're very large and they push all the way up north. This is a little flatter, but it's still doing the job of bringing in moist air. Now, the other issue is that you have the Canadian jet stream, which is actually pretty active, where you see the cool, dry, where I have cool and dry in that blue arrow. So that is cool air that's coming down from Canada. And what that effectively is doing is setting up a boundary, a frontal boundary across the U.S., across the eastern U.S., that is going to be problematic. And in fact, if we, I'll bring up the surface map here on and I'm going to do a little bit of drawing tonight. So let me just get this a little bit bigger. I just have to make sure you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing. And you're not. I got to make this a little bit smaller because I want you to get at least a good sense of where this is all going. So just a moment here. Let me see if I can figure this out. Let's try this. No, that's not going to work. Okay, maybe that'll work a bit better. So, trying to make this window big enough for you guys to see okay, much better now. Okay, so you guys can at least see this at the moment, which is better. So what we have up is the surface map. This is for Wednesday, so I'm jumping ahead a couple of days here. So I'm going to draw a little bit for you here. So we've got a stalled front that is going to be running east-west. Hello, why aren't you responding to me? Oh, technology is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Now we got it. Okay, so we've got a stalled frontal boundary, and this frontal boundary is going to be buckling from time to time. I'm drawing a stationary front here for you, so you can just kind of see how, this frontal boundary actually goes pretty far to the west. This is, again, for Wednesday morning, and we're going to be seeing this frontal boundary kind of buckle up back and forth over the next number of days. So you're going to have some cool air that's going to try to come down from the north. At the same time, you're going to see warm air coming up from the south, and that is going to create, I should do that in red here, so there you go. So, that's going to bring in warm tropical air coming up from the south, and that is going to start saturating the atmosphere. So as these little waves that will develop on this front from time to time are going to be rippling through, and sometimes that front's going to push northward. Sometimes as the waves go by, it's going to push southward, and that's going to mean for temperature changes and for occasional showers and thunderstorms. In the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, that is the low that models are showing to develop in the coming days. Now, it is not anything, at least from the standpoint of the GFS, it really doesn't wrap this up. But you got to be careful when it comes to these tropical systems, if only because you do wind up where these models do not do a really good job of developing the tropical systems like they do the non-tropical systems. They've gotten better at it, but they do fail at times. And this could be one of those times where it does fail. Regardless of whether this develops into a subtropical system of some kind or even a weak subtropical storm or a tropical storm, I think that's just a that's kind of a semantic issue. The bottom line is that the moisture from all of this is all going to be coming in to the eastern part of the United States. This is going to feed into the rain that we are going to be seeing through the next week. And I think that some of that rain could wind up being substantial in some places. As far as amounts are concerned, I'll bring up the GFS rainfall map. And you can see now this is going to be total rain for the whole week. And this is, you've got the chart on the side with the scale. Notice, there are blotches here, but there is a general area, and we'll try green here. But you can see that this area here, this is all like 2 to 3 inch plus rains. You've got some more patches of 2 to 3 inch plus rains down in the southeast, and of course in the Gulf of Mexico with that subtropical system. But Florida does fairly well with this rainfall-wise, with some amounts in those darker purples showing up. Those are rainfall amounts of 5-6 inches. So I wouldn't be at all surprised. And this could be over time. This could wind up being a flash flood issue for somebody. With how this is all playing out in the upper air. Here's the issue. So let me I'll bring up the upper air of the GFS. And oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Hang on. That is okay. I saved it in a different spot. I have to try to be a little more cognizant of where I put these things. There. Okay, so that's the map that we had up before. I did save up another GFS one. Where did I put it? Is it this one? Tough getting old, folks. Nope, that's the surface map. Where did I put that upper air? This is really ridiculous. Well, I've got one other place to take a look. Sorry about that, folks. I think this is the right one. I saved so many maps over the course of a day that... There we go. Yeah, I knew I would get it eventually. Okay, so here's our upper air. This is the upper air jet stream close up. And this is, by the way, for Tuesday. And you can see the weakness pretty well. Here's the trough I'm talking about that's in the Eastern Gulf of Mexico there. That is the upper low. And there'll be a surface low that will probably develop near that. And you'll notice if you follow the lines here, so the flow from the jet stream is coming up, and the upper air is coming, actually it goes further south than Cuba, down into the Caribbean, and then up the Atlantic seaboard, and then turns to the northeast. Here is that northern jet that is going to be part of this equation. And on Tuesday, the frontal boundary is going to buckle northward again. So this probably will create an opportunity for severe weather on Tuesday somewhere in here, across maybe from Ohio across Pennsylvania in through New Jersey until that front moves southward, which it will do, and then it's going to stall out, and then later in the week, it's going to buckle again. So this is the problem we're going to have, and unfortunately, when we look at the overall long-range pattern here, this goes on for quite a while. This is going to be with us for the whole, certainly for the whole week and probably through next weekend. So definitely not going away anytime soon. So we'll bring the full GFS up. Let me move myself over here, and I try, to get dexterous with this stuff. It's very, very hard. So, but bear with me. Okay. And here we have it. So I'm going to back up a little bit, and we'll start off with tonight, where we do have some rain little area of rain and thunderstorms that's on the radar that is moving southeastward. That's going to play through. The daytime Monday to me doesn't really look like anything extraordinary, but by Monday evening, notice there's an east-west area of rain and showers and thunderstorms from the middle and upper Mississippi Valley across the lower lakes into western PA and even into southern PA. This is going to increase a bit for Tuesday, and we're going to probably go through the same thing that we just went through on Saturday, where there'll be a shot of showers late Friday night into Saturday morning as that frontal boundary buckles northward. And then late in the day, you've got this cold front that's going to come through with a bit of a wave that develops on it. There it is by Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. So this is where there could be some heavy rains and thunderstorms, potential for some severe weather Tuesday night in the area I indicated below. There's the low-level swirl in the Gulf of Mexico. Again, you see how that moisture field just kind of advects northward. Later in the week, a big high is going to press down, and you're going to have this moist tropical air trying to push the other way. And this is what we get into toward the end of the week and into the weekend. And, I mean, this is just going to be a pretty wet period, even lasting into the first part of next week. We're still dealing with this frontal boundary. So until you can get the Atlantic high, and it's going to be formidable here in terms of the strength of that high. I'll show you on the upper air. We'll have to take this view. But you can see on the upper air, the surface high, the two H's that are out in the Atlantic, how strong they are. But here we go with regards to the upper air. And this is going out now we're at May 22nd here. And if you notice, at this point, that northern jet's trying to strengthen a bit, but will it, strengthen enough to finally weaken that high out in the Atlantic? This says it will, and it will do it, but it's going to take, today's the 13th, so we're talking at least another 8 or 9 days before there's more of a northwest flow into the eastern states, and things might try to dry out just a little bit. But definitely a wet scenario going forward. And by the way, the GFS is still in its long range, showing another tropical system here. And if you look down near Florida, and you see those 3 closed circles there, so that's reflecting the tropical system that it's been showing in the long range now for well over a week. I'm not going to take it seriously because it's I've been saying the last number of days, until it gets inside the day 7 time frame, I'm not going to really pay much attention to this. There's something that the model, for whatever reason, is doing this, but it never brings it forward in time. It always leaves it out in the day 10 to 16 time frame, which really doesn't do us a whole lot of good. So until it gets into a point where we're going to see it come inside 10 days and can see it come inside 7 days, then I'm going to want to pay a little bit more attention to it. But right now, I would say no. I'm going to bring up the Northeast Regional Radar so we can take a look at some of the stronger thunderstorms that are running around this evening that are going to impact part of the east. And here's that area that is now moving into southern Pennsylvania, firing up some thunderstorms. You've got that severe thunderstorm watch in northern West Virginia and northern Virginia. This is the complex that the Storm Prediction Center is watching. So those are going to be playing through in the next several hours and beyond. And then after that, we're going to get a bit of a break during the rest of the overnight. And I think that pretty well covers it as far as the weather is concerned. I'm going to join you guys up in the chat and see if I can get some of your questions addressed. So 1 second here. Okay, you're all up there, so hang on. Once again, though, welcome to all of you that are on. Okay, just trying to run through all your questions. I'm going back to the very beginning here. William Huber, can you believe it's still cold up in northeastern Canada? Yeah, it is amazing that it is still that cold up there. And one of the things, the upper air pattern and everything that's been going on this spring so far, to me, kind of is taking me back to the kind of springs that I remember when I was a little younger. The last few years, I don't know if I want to say that it's been an anomaly, but we've certainly had the last couple of years the tendency for spring to hang on, to wait and be delayed, and then suddenly the summer switch is being flipped on. I'm not so sure that the switch to summertime is going to be flipped on in a big hurry. We seem to be having a bit more of a let's call it an average spring overall. I mean, I know April was cold in most places, but we certainly, except for the odd days here and there in my neck of the woods, we certainly don't seem to be in any rush to get to a summertime pattern. And these spring rains, if we're getting into this pattern where it's going to be, basically on and off wet for the next 7 or 8 days, that's kind of what I remember a lot of the spring, the springs that I've experienced here in my area of the Northeast. Daniel Dust, as I did address that, that the GFS model with its constant showing of tropical systems in the 8 to 10 day time frame. Chris Alley, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I remember all the times you always just talk about your grandkids, and I totally understood. I remember thinking, one of these days I'm going to be a granddad, and I'm here, and it's wonderful. Thank you, and I'm glad you're on board tonight. I always thought that ridging always comes with dry weather. Well, depends on where the ridge is. The big ridge in the Atlantic is not a good thing for dry weather here when it's positioned out in the Atlantic and it opens up a flow from the tropics, and all that tropical moisture gets pushed northward. If you've got an upper ridge, for example, over the eastern part of the United States, or just west of the east coast of the United States, for example, or in the Great Lakes or in the Ohio Valley, then yeah, that's going to be dry because the air aloft, our air is going to be coming from a dry place. The ridge in the Atlantic is not a dry place. This time of year, you got all that, the atmosphere heating up, holding more and more moisture. Tropical moisture gets in the wintertime. That's when you get the ridge off the East Coast. You get Atlantic moisture that gets pumped up. So we certainly are going into a pattern that's going to favor on and off rains over the next 7 or 8 days. And we will, of course, it'll be interesting to see how this system over Florida, whether it becomes a tropical system or not, it is going to be part of the mechanism to saturate the atmosphere anyway. So, Mickey Petrovich, it's really kind of a waste of time to just sort of, and I think you're saying this really, when you see these models, this time of year, in May, a Category 3 hurricane, there have been 4 hurricanes in the month of May since 1851. And there have only been 22 tropical storms. So you really are going against the grain just to get something to develop even a weak system, let alone something of strength. The water temperatures are just not there yet. It's too soon. Do I think the rainfall in the Atlantic area will be organized by tropics or more diurnal? I think, Doug Crum, I think it's going to be more a function of the tropical moisture that's coming up rather than diurnal, although the diurnal part will probably accentuate the afternoon and evening downpours that will develop, but certainly all the moisture is going to be around there. Now, eventually, that upper trough that's in the Eastern Gulf of Mexico, that's in the Eastern Gulf states and extends southward into the Gulf of Mexico, that is also going to be a trigger mechanism to enhance shower and thunderstorm activity. Daniello, we don't even want to talk about. That's just ridiculous with regards to what the models are showing. That's why you can't look at this stuff. Amazing. Imagine since say a week ago the models were doing showing this. This is why you can't really look out 10 days plus and get all worked up about it. It's just noise. Wait till it starts getting inside 6 or 7 days, and then you could, that's when you really start putting a little more energy into trying to figure out where this is all going to go. Let's see. I'm just I'm sorry. I'm trying to follow your thread there, Lord Kate. Okay. Okay. I'm playing catch up here. At least the pollen is trying to wash away. I'll give you that. Spring does have its delightful days down by you, Israel, and up by me too. They do come from time to time. Happy birthday to Michael Zimmerman, 16 years old today. And Chris Alley, yeah, the grandkids do grow quickly. I mean, I just saw it with my own, you see it with your own kids. They're born, and all of a sudden one day they're having children. So it does go by very, very fast. Totally understand that. Okay, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here at this point. Again, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, your moms, if you're a mom. Happy Mother's Day. I hope you had a great day. We will, of course, be busy this week. It seems like we're going to have a busy weather week. Tomorrow night, for those of you on Long Island, I will be at the Smithtown Library on North Country Road in Smithtown at 7 o'clock to 8:30. And I'll be giving my presentation on, I guess we can start talking about the upcoming hurricane season. It's free. If you've got nothing to do, come on out. If you have something to do, change your plans and come out anyway. That's the Smithtown Library on North Country Road in Smithtown, New York. And you can also contact the library and let them know you're coming. This way, they make sure they have a chair out for you. Otherwise, you'll get in anyway. But if you let the library know, it just saves a little bit of time. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else going on, and there is not. Just want to mention again very quickly that I'm a participant in the Amazon Services Associates Program, which is a program designed to provide means for my channel to earn some fees. When you link to Amazon and make a purchase, Amazon sends me back a little bit of dough. And it's a great way to support my channel because it doesn't cost you a dime. And I'm happy, you're happy, Amazon is happy. We're all happy. Okay, have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.